Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. A very, very rainy welcome, rather, because it has been raining cats and dogs in India this year. It is my esteemed honor to be here today because once upon a time, Maruti Esteem was one of my favorite cars. This evening, but is not about me. It's about educating ourselves to debunk evaluation contest myths. So if you're ready to do that, please type a yes in the chat box so that we can see that our blood is flowing through our veins and arteries and we are actively here. So please type a yes in the chat box. Awesome. Superb. Before we get to exactly debunk evaluation contest myths, let me share some ground rules. And they are simple and they are only two. Number one is keep your videos on so that you can engage really well and that you are attentive in this session, and keep your smiles as wide as possible, even if you are confused as to what the trainer may say. And now I have a question for all of you. So do you know, any of you know what is this month's theme for District 98? Anybody would like to unmute and share what is the theme for this month for District 98?
Growth and I just remember that growth, and I'm not remembering the second word.
Yes, okay. So we have the first word. What is the second word? Anybody would like to attempt?
Gratitude.
Awesome. So I think it was Saral and who else shared?
It was me, Akarshak.
Okay, awesome. So Saral and Akarshak, we both know that you have a good memory. So thank you for that. And I'm sure that we all will have that feeling of growth after this session. But who do you think we should thank and pay gratitude for this educational session? Any answers? You can also type it in the chat box. Who should we thank and who should we pay our gratitude to? Okay, PQD is one answer. Any other answers? PQD and TM Santosh. All right. PQD and TM Santosh. Okay. TMs. Okay. Toastmasters. Who else? Any far-fetched guesses? DPRM, speaker, the host, all TMs who agreed, audience, Toastmasters fraternity, all leaders and each other for being here. Zoom. Ah, nice. Well, let me debunk your myth first. In a brief conversation with distinguished Toastmaster Santosh Akella, he shared, and I quote, he said that I got married recently before a year, and still I'm able to continue with my journey, which I feel is a fortunate thing. Now I feel a big thanks goes to his eloquent wife, isn't it? Yes? Awesome. So that's right. On this note, all of you can congratulate him by typing your wishes in the chat box. And now it's time to introduce our speaker and trainer. So Santosh is a 3-time distinguished Toastmaster and a 6-time district level contestant across formats with 4 podium finishes and the first place in the District 98 International Speech
Make it
Contest.
created versus
Sorry? Okay, so I'll continue. Professionally, he works with a consulting firm in the area of learning and development, specializing in both behavioral and technical trainings. He holds a BTech and an MA in organizational psychology with 2 postgraduate diplomas in training and development, along with over 11, I'm falling short of limbs here, 11 internationally accredited certifications in training and development. As the chair of education in District 98, he is responsible for pioneering various educational initiatives, such as this one, all while spreading his passion for training. Today, distinguished Toastmaster Santosh is here to bust the myths about evaluations. So whether you're a newbie or a seasoned speaker, He's ready to guide us in unraveling the common misconceptions and mastering the art of evaluation. So get ready to learn from one of the best in the field. And please join me in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster Santosh Akella. Over to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Medha, for such warm introduction. I think you have already set up the ground for myths, myth as a word. When you said that despite getting married, I'm able to continue with my Toastmasters journey, because that was a myth, in fact, that I had before getting married, that if I get married, I'll lose all my time, all my life, will go to my wife and all those things. But that was a great catch, and thank you for such warm introduction. And it was also great speaking to you, interacting with you since I think eighth or ninth that we have been interacting with each other. Thank you so much, and welcome everyone to this beautiful session on busting myths related to the evaluation speech contest. To start with, any journey that we take, any activity that we do, or any endeavor that we begin, myths are common, right? Right from, I mean, if I have to quote, I'll not go way past into my school days, but at least if I have to go to the time when I joined District 98 Toastmasters. Now, District 98, when I joined, I have joined Toastmasters in the city of Mumbai. Now, forget about Toastmasters just for 15 seconds. When I came to this beautiful city of Mumbai, I had a lot of misconceptions. Now, one misconception was when I was looking for a rented flat, they said the rent is 9,000. I thought, okay, I'm getting a 3 BHK for 9,000 rupees. No. Then they said 9,000 is your share of rent. You're going to share this flat with 10 other people. I don't remember, it may be more. So these are the myths that we come with whenever we do something, right? Now, put it to me in your chat, in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with speech evaluations? 1 being the least and 10 being the highest. 7, 6, 4, 5, 8, 4. I want more responses. 6, 2, 4, 8, 5. Okay. On an average, this is 6, right? Now, why is this a 6? Why not 8? Or why not 9? Of course, I don't expect it to be 10. Because I think Arvind is here. I once remember this beautiful quote from Arvind when he said, flawless is flawed, in one of his general evaluations, because 10 on 10 is, I think, again, maybe it may be possible, but practically it's a myth. It's only an aspirational thing. Now, coming to these myths, as I said, when I joined Toastmasters, if I had to evaluate a speech, okay, if I had to evaluate a speech, I always felt some discomfort. Now, how many of you in this, I know some of you would be Toastmasters for less than a year. Some of you would be Toastmasters who are into the system for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or more than 5 years. Now, most of us, when we evaluate our first speech, what's the thought? Can someone unmute and speak? When you evaluated your first ever speech, what was the thought in your mind? Yeah, Medha. Yes.
I had this thought of not hurting the speaker.
You had this thought of not hurting the speaker. That's nice. Yes, Kartiki.
Hello everyone present over here. So
Yeah.
basically, when it was my first time for evaluation, I had to evaluate my club member, distinguished Toastmaster Avinash. So I did not have, I should not hurt the speaker, but I had the thought, what should I tell the speaker, in fact? So like that was my area that what should I be telling a distinguished Toastmaster or a qualified speaker. So, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kartiki. You have that challenge of evaluating a speech, I would say, not the speaker, but a speech of a speaker who has delivered a number of speeches before you. Okay, one last response from me too.
Yeah, hi, Santosh. Yeah, I feel I've not yet evaluated anyone's speech, and I hope to do so in future. And the only thing which I feel while evaluating is that I put the person under microscope and very minutely judge them. So judgment is what comes to my mind, which I don't feel very comfortable with, but I know it's an important aspect of learning. Yeah.
Okay. Now again, judgment is not evaluation. In a contest, we judge. We try to score the contestants. Whereas when doing an evaluation, although this is not related to this session, when we are doing an evaluation, our main motto is to help the speaker improve their speech. Okay. Now, yeah, like you all had, when Kartiki said she was overwhelmed to deliver a feedback, this feeling of inferiority complex, that who am I to evaluate a speech since I am very new in the system. I feel this is a myth that we all have. Because even if you look at the pathways program that we have, there is a project in level 1 which says evaluation and feedback. So you can actually go ahead and evaluate a speech. And again, not the speaker, but we can go ahead and evaluate a speech, follow the rules, reach out to your mentor, understand how to evaluate, and in that framework of evaluation, whatever you feel like, I'll tell you, whenever I watch cricket or anything, I'll just say, Virat Kohli could have hit a six. Right now, that is my opinion. If he could have done a cover drive instead of just having a shot towards the, I'm not very familiar with cricketing terminology, but instead of hitting it backwards, he could have done a cover drive. Now, when I think like that, I am able to think like that because I am not in the spot. Now, understand that right now I am speaking. I may commit some mistakes because I am on the spot. I am under, I am on the spotlight and I am feeling nervous. So I may commit those mistakes. But as a third person, when I am observing, even if I relook at this recording, I can write 10, 15 points for myself that, okay, the next time I speak, I can do better. So that is the first myth that I'd like to debunk. That is, even if you are a new member in Toastmasters, you can go and evaluate the speech. And the clubs do have their own uh, norms with respect to that. In some clubs, they let you evaluate from the time you take that evaluation and feedback speech, and even sometimes the prepared speakers do come up with some expectations that I want a specific evaluator. Now, forget about all those things, but in general, if you have um, if you know the ground rules, the basics, then you can go and evaluate. Now, the same rule applies even to the contest. If you have just joined Toastmasters today, if you are allowed to compete, go and compete in the contest. And that is where you will start to sharpen your skills, because this is a platform where we learn by doing things. We learn by committing mistakes. So that is the first one, which is, even if you are a new member at your club, you can still evaluate a speech. Now, coming to number two. Now, this is very particular with respect to the contests. And before I do that, I'd like to share one story. I still remember it was in 2017. I was competing for the first time for the international speech contest. And that day when I'm competing, I don't want to take names, and with all due respect, I had some of the stalwarts in my club, like 3, 4 other contestants. It was the international speech contest. I have done everything possible in the checklist. I have written a speech. I got it mentored. I went to 3-4 other clubs, practiced the speech. I made sure that I prepared well. I checked all the boxes. I have done everything to make that the best speech in my capacity. And on the contest day, I go and look there and I find all the stalwart speakers. Although I felt, okay, what to do now? I had multiple thoughts going in my mind. What will I do? Will I win? And I genuinely wanted to win that contest. I went there, I was just thinking, and then I thought, okay, let me give whatever I want to give. I have prepared a beautiful speech. I'll deliver. Whatever happens, happens. Let me come back. And when I saw the results, I was surprised, rather pleasantly surprised to see that I won the contest. Now, why I am sharing this, I am not sharing this to show off, but the only reason I am sharing this is even if you are a new Toastmaster who is competing in the speech evaluation contest or any contest per se, and if you are checking the boxes, like, did I practice enough evaluations or did I learn the skills required? Do all these things and go. Don't think about who is the other contestant competing there. Don't think about anyone, just think about yourself. Are you doing everything in your capacity? Again, in case you're aspiring to win a contest or at least, participate in a contest with all your heart and soul, just go there, do that, and then look at it. And don't go with these are called preconceived notions. Don't go with them. Just go with an open mind, compete and come back. That's it. And then I would like to share the third myth, which is sometimes, especially with evaluations, normally I have seen multiple evaluations which are very flashy, using words and mesmerizing everyone with their evaluations. Now, if an evaluator is delivering such an evaluation, do you think that will win? Not necessarily every time. Now, to as I started this session with, evaluation is about the speaker. It doesn't matter whether you have a flashy delivery. It doesn't matter whether, of course, it should be decent enough. You should be presentable. Okay, you shouldn't be like underconfident or things like that. But if you are presenting a decent enough evaluation with good points and good analysis, that is what is looked at. And don't think that if you are giving a very flashy evaluation, dominating everyone over there, it's going to fetch or give more scoring. No, the ballot, if you look at it, it does not speak about anything about being flashy. It speaks about your analytical ability, your analysis, the way you're summarizing the evaluation or not, and all these things. It does not, your technique, it does not, and it will never speak about how flashy you are, how flamboyant your language is and everything. Of course, as I said, it should be presentable, it should be good, comprehensible by the speaker and of course by the judges if it is in a contest. So go with that intent to help the speaker, go with that intent to help the speaker deliver a better speech. Now, the fourth myth that I'd like to debust is, I'll tell you, when I started evaluating, before I do that, when I started evaluating my uh, evaluating speeches, what I used to do is I used to have some quotes written for me. For example, I'll just tell you one of the quotes. It was, some speakers will deliver speeches to inspire, some speakers will deliver speeches to inform, but some speakers will only enthrall you. Now, these kinds of openings, or a speech is something, blah, 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 everything like that. Okay. All these kinds of introductions I used to prepare, and I used to say that, okay, I'm going to speak about good vocal variety, good body language, and good usage of words. And in improvements, I'm going to speak about the opening and the conclusion could have been better. Now, don't memorize your points and go to the contest. Now, again, there are two reasons for this. One, doing so, you are genuinely not helping the speaker. One. And number two, judges will understand. in case you are in a contest, judges do understand that you are doing these things. Now, again, this is a myth that people think, okay, I'll remember a beautiful opening, I'll remember a good closing, and then I'll remember 2 to 3 points. I'll prepare my entire evaluation and I'll deliver it. Irrespective of the speech, I'll deliver this evaluation. No, don't do that. Customize your evaluation on the go, on the spot, and that is what the analytical ability part of it is all about. Give the evaluation based on the speech. Now, going to the fifth myth, there are some evaluators who just praise the speaker like anything. Even if it's a good speech or an extraordinary speech or however they feel, they'll just say that you are on the top of the moon. You are just there. You are just going to do it. No, don't do it. You can simply say that you say what you feel. It's not about just praising the speakers. Praising the speakers, over praising the speakers is not going to fetch you any extra points. And in fact, it's actually harmful because it doesn't help speaker one and you'll also be scored down on the ballot. So don't use excessive praise in your evaluations. And then the opposite of that also holds true. When you evaluate, don't give a lot of improvement points. Some evaluators just tend to give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 6 or 7 things that you have to improve upon. No, don't do that. And at this point, I'd like to just tell that an evaluation is for 2 to 3 minutes, right? Now, since an evaluation is for 2 to 3 minutes, what is that you can put in 2 to 3 minutes? What I normally do is whenever I look at a speech, so you'll be given that A4 sheet, even if you're evaluating a project speech, you have that A4 sheet before you, or at least you'll have a notebook before you. I write the name of the speaker on the left top corner. I write the title of the speech just below the name of the speaker. And while I'm looking at the speech, what do I write? I don't write the speech. That is number one. I write keywords related to the speech. Now, say if you have been listening to me for last 15-20 minutes, what you can write is point number one, even if you are new to Toastmasters, you can still go ahead and evaluate. Point number two, myth number two, even if you don't have a lot of experience, you can still go and win the contest. Don't feel that inferiority complex. Myth number three, a flashy delivery may not necessarily give you a win. Myth number four, don't memorize a single evaluation and deliver it for all the evaluations. Myth number five, excessive praise does not mean that you're helping the speaker. Myth number six, giving a lot of recommendations doesn't also help. Now, these are the keywords that I write. Say, for example, for this speech. Like that, I'll just write, how did the opening go? What is the structure of the speech? Is that speaker using 3 points, 5 points, or 10, 15 points? If it is 10, 15 points, since a prepared speech is for 5 to 7 minutes, I'll say that, okay, maybe you have a lot of points. You may try to highlight only key points, maybe 3 or 5 of them, depending on the time. Then that goes to recommendations. So like that, first, I'll write my observations. And while writing my observations, some of them are obviously recommendations. Like the one I said, for a 5 to 7 minute speech, 3 or 5 points or anything could be fine, not more than that. Because 5 to 7 minutes, if you have to substantiate something, that is what you should use. Now, and there will be some points that I'll realize that they'll be either recommendations or commendations once I get my 5 minutes of preparation time after the evaluation. That is where I segregate them. And when I am segregating them as well, if I'm writing, say, 12 observations in a speech, I'm going to pick top 3 as commendations. I am going to pick top 2 or 3 as recommendations. Top 3 and top 2 or 3. That's it. Not more than that. And the remaining points, I would recommend, I always do this. I just reach out to the speaker after the speech and I'll try to share with the speaker if I feel that, again, the speaker is open to feedback, or most of the test speakers or most of the prepared speakers, they reach out to us when we evaluate a speech, right? Share with them. They'll be more than happy to listen to that. They'll love it once they come to know that you have written 12, 15 points and then you have only given 5 points, 3 commendations and 2 recommendations, or 2 or 3 recommendations. And now you can ask me one question now. Okay, Santosh, you're telling 3 commendations and 2 recommendations. How can I spend all my 2 to 3 minutes in that? Right? Now, that is where I said, don't have a lot of points. Rather, for the limited number of points we have, the idea is that we deliver them effectively. We deliver them with clarity. And that is where there is a point in the ballot, which is technique. Now, what is the technique? When you are giving commendation, say, I observed that the body language of the speaker is great. I'll not just say that the body language of the speaker is good. I have to say that whether your facial expressions are good. I loved your facial expressions when you showed that you are sad. So what I'm doing here, I have to be one very specific. I don't have to be very superficial about my points. I shouldn't be scratching on the surface. I have to go in depth. I will tell where did I observe that point? Why is it useful? Great facial expressions make us feel understand, make me feel understand that this the communication is very well. I mean, great facial expressions help me get the communication 90% through the body language. And I'll also tell what, why, and where did I look at in the speech. I have to be that specific. And even when giving recommendations, if I'll tell that you could have used better transitions in your speech, no, that won't help the speaker. Tell the speaker what was actually done and how can that be improved. Say if the transitions are not good, I'll say that if I were you, I would have used, if I were you, I would have used a connecting line between 2 sentences. That depends on the speech. So I have to tell how that went or how it should be done so that the speaker will take some benefit out of it. So this is how I do instead when I have a limited number of points. So coming back to the myths, don't have excessive praise or a number of points there. Just have 3 commendations, 2 to 3 recommendations, depending on how you manage your time in 2 to 3 minutes. Again, that's pretty subjective from person to person, but normally across the contests or the evaluations that I have seen, anything between like 3 commendations and 2 to 3 recommendations goes very comfortably. More than 3 recommendations, no more than 6 points overall. Time, I mean, there will be some time crunch. Now coming to the next myth, the 7th myth that I'd like to bust, which is sharing personal experiences in the evaluation. Now, what are these personal experiences? Say the speaker delivers a speech on going to Maldives. Okay. I can't just, okay, I'm just showing off that I went to Maldives for my honeymoon, but let it be. Now, I can't just go and tell everything that I have done at Maldives, how did my journey go and everything. No, speak about the speech. Don't get deviated, don't get diverted, don't get carried away by the fact that you have actually been to Maldives or done an activity that the speaker has actually done and start speaking about your own story. No, the evaluation is not about you. It's about the speaker. It's about the speech. So go and give your analysis of the speech. Don't repeat the speech. Don't repeat a very big story or a very big quote by the speaker. You can say that quote by Abraham Lincoln was very credible, but don't repeat the entire quote. Use your time wisely. And don't even share personal experiences. If the speaker is sharing a quote on Abraham Lincoln, yes, I resonate with it. This is the quote, and I also have a new quote from Isaac Newton on this topic. Let me share. No, don't do that. Don't add your own story or own personal experiences when you are giving evaluations. And now coming to the final myth, the eighth myth, which is using acronyms. Now, there was a time when I was a huge fan of acronyms. Even today, I'm a huge fan of using acronyms in my evaluation, like saying if the speaker is delivering a speech on time management, I'll say I will use TIME, T for transitions, I for something, M for something, E for something. No. Now, while I'm a fan of that, the myth that I had is using acronyms will make you win. Again, this falls under that flashy delivery. You don't have to feel dejected, or you don't have to feel bad that you are not able to use acronyms, or you in fact don't have to have that confusion that when you are going to a contest or even in the club, that should I use an acronym or or will I be at some loss if I am not using an acronym? Loss? Absolutely no. Evaluation, again, sticking to the basics, it is CRC: commend, recommend, comment. That is one. And by doing so, are you helping the speaker improve the speech on that day, at that instance? That's it. Whether you are using an acronym, you are not using an acronym, it doesn't matter. However, if you really want to enjoy, take that challenge of, okay, I'll use acronym, no strings attached to that. I don't get any benefit or any loss by doing so or not doing so. Use it. But again, with my experience of trying to use acronyms will help you increase your creativity. But at the same time, most of the times, what I felt is when I'm trying to use an acronym, I'm somewhere compromising on the points that I want to cover. Say I really feel that I want to say that the speaker is good with his problem solution approach, and I've already decided that I will use an acronym TIME. Now, where am I fitting it? I can't fit it, right? Because when I am deciding that this is the acronym that I will use, I'll only try to force fit my points and thereby either lose some unnecessary points, or sometimes I kind of add points which are not required. So use acronym only if it is actually covering all the points that you actually want to cover. So in case you are using an acronym, what's the trick? You first write the speech analysis, write your commendations, recommendations, and then think about an acronym. Don't decide that, okay, I'll use an acronym time today, or I'll use an acronym super. Don't go with that one fixed acronym and try to force fit it. Okay, that will help you. So let me share my screen once and I'll just recap everything. So debunking evaluation contest myths. I think you can see I hope that you can see my virtual background. The slides that I have shared, awesome. Okay. So if you're new to Toastmasters, you don't have to worry. You can still go ahead and evaluate. You don't have to be completely experienced or nothing. Again, in the judges briefing, the judges will be guided or instructed to not have any kinds of biases. So just remove all the preconceived notions that if I'm inexperienced, I'm at some loss. Just try to check in all the boxes which are there and then go for the contest that will help you. Don't believe that a flashy delivery is going to help me gain something. Don't memorize points and just fit in there. Don't give excessive praise or give a lot of improvements. Just try to give three commendations, 2 to 3 recommendations. When giving commendations, try to tell, absolutely tell where did you observe something, why is it important, and then when giving recommendations, tell what it is and how that can be improved. Always give that solution to them. Don't leave them by just saying that this is what could have been better. And try to be very specific about things. You don't just say that your body language is great or your vocal variety is great. You just go to the specificity of the things and try to tell that you have good facial expressions or you have good pitch, tone, voice, and all those things. Be very specific about things. Now, coming to personal experiences, don't share your personal experiences. Don't repeat the what the speaker has already said. Use your time wisely when giving evaluations. And acronyms, use with caution. First, have your pointers. If they are fitting into something, use an acronym. And if you love to use it, you enjoy using it, use them. Again, don't have that misconception or a preconceived notion that using or not using an acronym is going to help you. Okay. So with this, I think it's good to see that questions are coming in. I have one question from Priyank. Can you guide for points to be taken care while summarizing? Okay. Now, while summarizing, again, that is, okay. Summary is something most of the evaluators miss. Now, summary carries 15 marks in the evaluation contest. And even if we think about speakers, the poor speaker has just delivered a speech, and any speech, anyone who delivers a speech, they just go out of the nerves. They are on the spot. They just go there and they are just in that relaxing mode. So we need to help them remember our evaluation, and that is where summary comes into picture. Now, how do you summarize? Very simple. Say I have 3 points. I don't repeat my entire statement there, but I say you can just directly say that to summarize or to conclude, you have done great with respect to 1, your storytelling skills, 2, your vocal variety, 3, the problem solution approach that you have used in your speech. And if you could work on these skills, which is, say, the way you are using transitions, your conclusion, and also the way you use dialogues in your speech, you will do great. Just be direct with respect to summarizing your speech. Okay, we have one more question there. But sometimes the speech is too good. What do we do? Not hot, I think it's what do we do to evaluate that? For example, stage movement, eye contact, voice, everything is great. What do we do? Okay. Okay. Now see again. Even when I started this session by saying that nothing like flawless. Okay. Even if you look at a speech, you will find that there is something that is missing. Okay. Now, in case it is actually pretty good, say I found only one recommendation, I'll tell one recommendation. Now, that should be the case with all the speakers as well, right? All the evaluators, all the contestants as well. Now, don't worry about if the speech is too good. You will definitely find some or the other point where you can say that this can be improved. Even if the confidence level is great, even if the speech structure is great. Now, what I do is, if the speech structure, everything is fine, I'll say that, say, for example, I will say you could have used an acronym. I will say if the speaker is using 3 stories, I will just try to say you could have used one story and went in depth into that. Okay. And then in case the speaker is having very good use of dialogues, and there is no narration part. I will say you have used a lot of dialogues, but I felt a mix of narration and dialogues could have been done. So I would say that comes one with practice, and number two, as I said, it doesn't. I mean, it's nothing like you can't find even 2 points in a speech from the test speaker. Okay. Now, okay, we have more questions coming in, but before that, I'd also like to thank Medha. I think Medha has something to announce.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
distinguished Toastmaster Santosh, is it okay that we take a group picture
Yeah, sure.
before we take questions
Yeah,
for?
yeah, sure.
So I would request everyone to please switch on your videos and put on your best smile for the picture. Thank you so much for switching on your videos. Okay, so we are ready to take the picture. Is it done? Dearest host.
It's done.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
you.
I got the indication that it's done. So we can now take the questions. So next we have Toastmaster Himanshu, who raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Santosh, for that brilliant session. My question is, most of the times the CRC method, what we use is, most of the sessions I have heard, like people say, comment, recommend, and conclude considering the time. And if we go with comment, recommend, comment again, then conclude, it takes a lot of time. So how do you spell out the difference between the two?
Okay, you mean to say comment, recommend?
See,
Can
what
you
I have
repeat that? Yeah.
Yeah. Normally CRC is comment, recommend, comment, and then you conclude. But in few of the experts have said you make commendations, recommendations, and directly you can jump to conclusion. So which is the correct way out? Because in CRC, if you use comment, recommend, comment, and then conclude, it takes a lot of time.
See,
So how do you?
Yeah, it's not that you can do it in that way only. When they say commend, recommend, and commend, it does not mean that we exactly follow that. Okay. We
Okay.
can also change it. Like the only idea, even if I'm suggesting that you have to use 3 commendations and 2 recommendations, the idea is that the praise is more than the recommendations that we are giving. Now that brings in that confidence and that zeal to improve and come back again and speak in the speaker. Okay. And if you ask me, normally, okay, normally one thing that I do is I learned it from one of the past district champions in speech evaluations. Once I'm done with my recommendations, I just tell one line, okay, about how the speaker actually communicated. Now, some speakers come with a lot of authenticity, maybe because they are some speeches, rather, I would say, maybe because that speech is so connected to them. Like if we look at that World Championship speech this year, Louisa, she came up with a lot of authenticity and conviction, is what I felt, because that is something that has actually happened with her. Now, that is what I say. Now, in just 10 seconds, I simply say that once I'm done with my recommendations, just to raise that happiness level in the speaker, I say, you know what, you are coming with a lot of conviction. Or some speakers are quite conversational. Some speakers are quite confident and quite strong on the stage. When I say strong, they rule the stage, right? They come with a lot of authority on the stage. Now, some of these traits that I pick from the speaker, the kind of energy, some speakers are very energetic on the stage.
Right.
Right. So I just pick that up and then I'll use it.
So in the same way, if just to raise the happiness level, one district champion also suggested that while summarizing, you start with the recommendation and end with the commendations. Is that good to have that in the evaluation speech?
I have never done that. Okay.
Hmm.
And if
Is
you
it,
ask me,
I mean, is it suggested or not?
now personally, if you ask me, I have never done that, so I wouldn't recommend it. But then definitely if someone, I mean, there is no harm in trying it out. Okay. Unless and until you are completely demotivating the speaker, there is no harm in trying it out, is what I say. But since you have told me now, I'll maybe go ahead and try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
We
Santosh.
have another question in the chat box. How to start an evaluation and related to it. The second question is, what should be the first sentence of the evaluator? Should we greet the speaker? How to start, as here we do not know which pathways he, she is, etc.
Okay. I think how to start an evaluation. Okay. I think there are two things in this. One, that's actually a good question. One is related to how do we do when it's a club meeting and how do we do when it's a contest. I do the same thing for both kinds of speeches. Now, what do I do is I'll try to first connect with the speaker. That is, say the speaker is delivering a speech on cricket, or say the speaker is delivering a speech on cooking. I'll try to say some things like someone who is a foodie, cooking is something that I absolutely love. And I love all the aromas that come out from the kitchen when these things are happening. And through your speech, you have actually given me an opportunity to reconnect with my soul and my passion there. And then I'll address the contest chair. And then I'll say contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, or the general evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear target speaker. I'll never miss the name of the speaker. And having said that, in a contest, if you are even directly starting by saying that contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear target speaker, or you're having some opening that connects, and then you are kind of saying that contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, there is no difference. Again, even on this point, the judges will be briefed that don't go by the norms of your club. That happens in the judges briefing. So you don't have to worry about it. But connecting, yes, you have to do. Not because it maybe it will be on the ballot. Yeah, it is on the it it comes under the technique part again. Okay, that you have to connect with the speaker. That is how you make the speaker comfortable. But no harm in doing it before addressing the contest chair or after addressing the contest chair. We can take, I think that answered all the two questions. There is one more question. 1 minute.
Yes.
There is one
Can
more
you
question. Yeah.
provide, the question is, can you provide the tips how to find hooks for evaluation?
Okay, Sukhdeep, can you just elaborate on that? What are these hooks?
Hi, am I audible, Santosh?
Yes, you're audible.
So whenever we start evaluation, to just grab the attention of audience, we use hooks or kind of so any of crazy activity, any attention like hook. So is there any tips for that?
Okay. In fact, that was one of the myths that I was busting. That, I mean, if you genuinely find or have something, that's okay, but don't try to go with such preparations that I need to grab the attention and all those things. Okay. You can just connect with the speaker and then address the contest chair and go ahead with it. Or you can just address the contest chair, connect with the speaker, and go ahead with your evaluation. No hooks per se. Just keep it simple, keep it natural, and keep it flowing. Help the speaker.
Okay, thank you so much for this.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Saral, Medha, you want to read it out? Okay, I'll help myself.
Akshita had raised
Yeah.
her hand before.
Okay, Akshita. Yeah,
Yes.
Akshata.
Hello, Santosh. Thank
Hi,
you so
Akshata.
much for Yeah, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Got to learn a lot. I had a question. I'm actually very new to Toastmasters, and now this evaluation contest is coming, and I'm trying to participate. Could you just help me with some checklist that I have to go through while before participating? That would, help me polish my skill and present myself better in the competition.
Checklist, I would say, okay, I'll do one thing. I can actually share the checklist I use, okay, offline with you. But per se, there is no checklist as such. And in fact, you can actually come up with your own checklist. And as you give evaluations, like give some say 50, 40 or 30 evaluations over a period of time, you will realize that you will keep on advancing or you keep on improving your own checklist. Like if you ask me, I have a checklist. Like I look at the opening, I look at the type of speech, like whether it is a humorous speech, an inspirational speech, or an informative speech. Now depending on the type of speech, my checklists change, because in an inspirational speech the conclusion should be very persuasive, whereas an informative speech, the conclusion can also be summarizing everything. Now I summarized everything after my speech today, right? Because this is an informative speech. An educational session is an informative speech. And in fact, in case of a humorous speech, whether there are pauses, all the things that Joe has covered in the last session that District 98 have had, I also take that opportunity. You can put the recording in the chat. People will view that. So, I mean, I look at different checklists. Now, at the high level, I look at all these things like the opening, conclusion, body, then the body language, the vocal variety, the transitions, all these things. All these fall under my checklist. And you can prepare, in fact, these are the very simple things. You can just prepare your own checklist for yourself. And one, for example, you should have, I mean, once you start evaluating, as I said, things will just click like that for you. I'll tell you one example. Whenever someone is giving a statistic to me, like 350 people are contracting dengue every day in Hyderabad. Okay. Hyderabad is having a lot of dengue now. Now, whenever someone says these things, I will look for where is this study coming from? Who published it? When did it get published? Are all these details being published? If they are not, then I'll definitely put it as a recommendation that if you add these things, it will give more credibility. Right. So I think you can prepare. Okay, definitely. Jaydeep is also asking. I can send you my checklist. You can email me. Okay. Or you can also WhatsApp me and I can give you the checklist. But checklists are pretty, I mean, you can have a simple checklist, and if you want help, I can share that with you. There is nothing like once I share checklist, you go to the contest and please don't come back to me and tell me you shared this checklist and this is not useful, because they are very personalized. Okay. I
No,
mean,
no, I
nothing is,
meant that.
yeah, yeah.
No, I meant that in last time previously you said that for a speech contest where you participated, you actually prepared a speech and then you gave that speech to different clubs and then you accordingly, improvised things and then presented yourself
Yeah, yeah.
well in the ISC contest. Yeah, so that is what I meant. So for, participating, because here we don't have mentors, right? So
Hmm.
here we have to improve the skills by ourselves. So what, uh, uh, not getting. There isn't anyone there to guide us through the process, right? We have to ourselves, become better at this. So just give me that, what should be the radar. Are you
Hmm.
getting
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
I
mean
got
to
it.
say? Yeah.
I'll give you a basic checklist that you can use with a disclaimer that may not be exhaustive and comprehensive. Okay. Yes.
Thank you
So
so
I will,
much.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And you will have a mentor, by the way. Nothing like there is no mentor in Toastmasters, but yeah. So now one last question I'll take and then we'll close it because we are at 9:55.
Yes, so the question in the chat box from Saral was, while mentioning recommendations, look at the target speaker, but while giving commendation, look at the audience. Is this correct?
Okay. I have, uh, no, again, it's not that you will just speak. At least I follow this. It's not that I'll just look at my target speaker, make eye contact with that person for all the 3.5 minutes and speak to him or her. Or it is not just that I'll ignore my target speaker and I'll only speak with the audience. I'll keep looking at my target speaker, okay? Or I'll just keep my hand towards the target speaker whenever I'm speaking. And again, I'll not put my index finger towards the target speaker because it's like this. No, I'll just address that person. I'll make sure and ensure that I acknowledge his presence throughout my evaluation. Now, it's not like I look at him 3 times or during commendations, during recommendations. Okay, there is no count for it. Yeah.
One last question, if we
Sure.
can. Anything special need to be taken care in a completely online club?
Okay. I think, yeah, I think there are, okay, for an online club, at least back in those days, in online clubs, when you're speaking, not just for an evaluation speech, for any speech, look at the lens, the camera, okay? Look at the camera and think that you're speaking to a speaker. That's it. Because that helps, because or else people sometimes think that, say, if I'm speaking like this, looking somewhere, there has been instances when people raised a protest saying that this person is reading from somewhere. So just make sure you have that eye contact, I mean the lens contact, and speak when you are delivering it online. And of course, I think from not think, but definitely right from the area contest, it is physical.
Thank you so much for those questions. And as I thank, there is one more question
Okay,
that has popped up.
no worries.
Yep. So do I need
Yeah,
to
this is a
stand
very
up
short
while giving
question.
online evaluation?
Yes, it's good to stand and give an evaluation, because when we are standing, we have that energy, extra energy that comes up within us. I recommend giving it while standing. Again, it's a personal choice. You can also sit and give. Yeah, Akarshak has shared it. Thank you, Akarshak. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. And I'm very happy that you got a lot of questions. And I actually feel that after all this, I can add a lot more myths to these evaluations when I deliver a session the next time. Thank you so much. It's always home when I come to District 98, whether it's online or physically, and it feels great. Thank you, and over to Medha.
Thank you so much to everyone for the curiosity. Before I conclude, I would like the host to launch a poll for this session. So the poll has been launched. You can it has short questions. So you can just fill it, and then we'll conclude.
Thank you. This feedback thing is very nice. Please share with me.
Thank you for your commendation. Now, as we come to the close of this enlightening and the insightful session, a heartfelt thank you to you, distinguished Toastmaster Santosh Akella, for both enlightening us with your valuable insights and also making sure that we debunk all the myths that we could have. So this is a token of appreciation from District 98 for you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the wonderful audience. And a special thanks to our program quality director, distinguished Toastmaster Neha Bhatt, for supporting and organizing such enriching sessions.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.